host, Lee Adams, and today we bring you some players of a team in the South Hills that did something very special this year. The Mount Lebanon High School WPL Championship Boys Varsity Basketball Team. And our first two guests here today are seniors. Our senior forward, Sean Loughran, and a senior guard, Lucas DeCaro. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Great to have you. So talk about where you're going in the future, Sean.
Next year I'll be attending University of Dayton, study business. Why I chose is just great people, good school, and just all around was the right place for me.
So did you have a short list?
I did. My other choice was John Carroll. My brother goes there, but I just felt like I wanted a little bit of a bigger school, so that's why I chose Dayton.
Gotcha. Lucas, how about you? What's your...
I'm going to Case Western next year, play football.
Play football?
Yeah, study business too.
What position?
Receiver, like inside receiver.
Okay, sort of like Julian Edelman.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of like that.
Very similar.
Yeah. So, Lucas, my question is, I played high school basketball and baseball. I thought I'm not going to play three sports. But I have to think the transition right from football to basketball can't be super easy. What's it like?
It's not. It's definitely not. I mean, coming into football season, it's a lot of lifting, a lot of off season, but football shape is different than basketball shape. So it's a lot of short sprints. You get a lot of breaks in between. Basketball season, you got to come in. You got to get in shape really quick. You got to get into the flow of things, and it takes definitely a couple of weeks for the football kids to come in.
It's a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think Coach David realizes that?
He definitely does, yeah. He asks all the time, how are your legs, how's your wind?
Yeah.
But he's easy with it, yeah.
That's good. Well, Sean, you've been playing a lot since, your freshman year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've played a couple different styles of basketball here. And were you surprised when Coach David came in and said, we're changing everything?
I wasn't really surprised. I mean, I just felt like with the team we had, we were real quick. I mean, it suited, Garth Foley well all that year, Mike well, Hayden well. And it just worked for them really well, and I thought that was the best case. And, he does whatever he can do to win, and that's what he does.
For sure. But, I mean, this wasn't just a little change. This was a big change. So how do you think the team transitioned to that?
I mean, I thought we transitioned great. I mean, semifinals last year, WPL champions this year. I mean, I thought it was a pretty smooth transition. I mean, there was a ton of work over the summer with open gyms and getting ready, scrimmages, fall league. That really prepared us for the season, and it really paid off.
So you had a good amount of time before the season to get used to that.
Absolutely.
And what was it like for you, Lucas? I mean, you're a guard, and you'd come in, and they changed everything. So what was it like for you, that change?
I think it fits people like me because I think our team the last 2 years was undersized a little bit. So we had to, and I fit in with that. So we had to play to our strengths, which I thought was quickness. And the way we played the last 2 years, I thought really suited us.
I mean, what's the difference, Lucas, between playing football and basketball? Can you even kind of explain it? Because basketball, people are right on top of you as far as the fans. And in football, they're more removed. You got your helmets on. You're out there hitting people. What's it like? What's the difference like of playing this sport?
It's definitely a different environment because I don't know. You feel more exposed playing basketball because with a football, you have a helmet. There are more people on the court or more people on the field. So when you're playing basketball, it's more. You have to put yourself out there more, I think.
How, I've had football players come into this show, and we talked about it. Is football and they use this term, I didn't make it up. Is football nerve-wracking at all?
I think football, once you get into the flow of things, it's real easy to just play. It's a lot easier in football, I'd say, than basketball because it's faster, it's more contact, it's just easier to get into the flow of things quicker than basketball, I'd say.
Okay. And the reason I say it is I think it was a punt returner for Upper St. Clair, and he was sort of undersized. And he said that because he explained to me that, he's catching the punt and people are trying to knock his head off. So that could be nerve-wracking.
Right, well, there are definitely certain situations that are like that, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think it's just very different.
Yeah. Sean, so you're a shooter,
Right.
and I think you came in as a shooter from the beginning. And, I think back to when I played, whenever I'd be in warm-up sometimes and I'm not hitting anything. And then you get into a game, but that's when it really starts to matter. And I remember one day I'm shooting and missing everything, and the first shot in the game, boom, and it does something to you. I mean, how does that work with you from a confidence standpoint?
I mean, I had those days when you go in, you're not making anything in warm-ups, then you hit that first one, and then it just keeps building after that, just keep shooting. I mean, you gotta have that shooter's mentality, even if one doesn't go in, just shoot the next one if you're open. If not, pass it up. Or if someone else is hot, always share the ball to the next person.
Yeah. You played in a lot of high school gyms. When you go to the Peterson, there's a lot more space, around those baskets, sort of like playing, well, it's not like playing in the Final Four, but I mean, it's different than high school gyms.
Absolutely.
So what was it different shooting there wise? Like, how was that?
I don't know. I didn't feel anything in the game, but in warm-ups, it was definitely noticeable. Everything kind of comes like short because you're used to, I don't know if it's like depth, I don't even know what it's called, depth perception. I don't know.
Yeah.
But everything was kind of short. And then the first shot, when the game started, my first shot went in and it was just kind of got used to it, got in the groove of things.
And that's why I asked, because I remember you came out and you hit some shots.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, that's got to be great for your confidence.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so, when you hit those first couple shots, you're like, yeah, and you had a great game. Mm-hmm. And so do you think it started right from the beginning?
Yeah, I think it started. I didn't have a really good I didn't feel like I had a great warm-up. I was missing a lot, but it's just for the confidence to begin like that really helped.
It's funny how that can change,
Yeah, it's crazy.
How about you, Lucas? You were more of a distributor. You would shoot, but you're more of a distributor. Like, how did it work for you from a shooting standpoint and confidence?
What, you mean at the Pete or just in general?
Just in general.
The first shot is definitely big because if you get the first one to go down, you feel like you're more capable of taking shots. And then you hit a couple, like you really start to feel it. But I think what Sean said is very true. Like, find the hot guys, what Coach David preached to us a lot.
Gotcha. So, Sean, why do you think this team was so successful?
I have to say because of our chemistry. I feel like last year we had a great team. I thought last year we even had more talent. But this year I thought the group of guys, the 14 of us, were like a close-knit group of guys. Look at Hayden, Timmy, Mike, all of us here today, Will. We've been playing together for years. You remember that back in the travel days.
Yeah.
It's just, we're really close. And then the juniors brought up, Jake and Blaine, Sap. They fit right in with us. And it's just how close we are, how good of friends we are. That's why we had a great success this season.
What's your thoughts on that, Lucas?
I agree completely. I think the team dynamic was great because there was no one kid that really stood out as leaders. Everyone really knew their role, knew where to fit in, and I think it showed on and off the court. We're best friends off the court, so I think it really showed on the court with our success.
Now, both of you guys have played sports pretty much your whole life, right? Mm-hmm. So you have some memories that you draw on. So what are some of the memories that really stand out to you, Sean?
This year, I thought my favorite memory from this year, besides the WPL Championship, was beating USC here. And I thought it was great because packed house, sold out. Their student section was huge, bunch of people there. And it was just great to get that win. It was a huge win. And then overall, greatest memory is probably beating Latrobe last year in the playoffs, besides that, if we're going overall memory.
Yeah.
Just the absolute, it was our first playoff game win, I think, for our year, because we lost to Woodland Hills the year before. And it was just great to get that first win, and especially in that type of game, like a blowout was just nice for us all.
And Lucas, it doesn't matter the sport. So what are some memories that come to you?
One that sticks out is definitely my senior year in football when we beat Central at Central. It was at Highmark actually, so it was a really cool scene, right by the river. And Central, always a team that's good, team that recruits. So it was something special to go up there and beat them on their senior night. Mm-hmm. I would say that was probably my favorite sports memory of high school.
Interesting. So Sean, what would be something people would be surprised to know about you?
A lot of people don't know about me is I can solve the Rubik's Cube in under a minute.
How do you do that?
It's all about the algorithms and stuff. Got to know the algorithms, get it done fast and quick.
When did you start doing that?
I just picked it up actually over our trip to Missouri this year. I was bored because it's Missouri. I mean, there's not too much to do down there. Right. So I brought in a Rubik's Cube and started looking them up, how to do it online, memorizing them, and then got it, and then just been practicing ever since then.
Interesting, very interesting. How about you, Lucas? What would people be surprised?
I don't know. I listen to podcasts basically every night. That's probably something that people don't know about me, yeah.
Okay, so I know podcasts are something new. When I was in high school, I'd listen to talk radio, and at night I would just sit there and listen to people call in and talk about this or that. Podcasts are a little different. For people that don't know podcasts, why don't you try to explain?
Right. So the one that I listen to predominantly is Barstool Sports Podcast, and it's probably the most popular sports podcast. But it's basically just two guys talking about. They have people on. They interview people. They have like some big names. Like they've had like Blake Griffin. They've had a couple big guys, but they basically just talk about what's going on in sports world. And it's really funny. So it's really entertaining. You can just sit there and listen to them. They're like an hour, and it's 3 times a week. So
what other types of podcasts do you listen to?
I typically listen to sports podcasts, but I've tried out some like business podcasts, and I don't know. I found myself kind of floating during those. But
yeah.
I
So
stick to
the sports one brings you in.
Yeah, I can stay like entertained.
You
with
can
those,
stay with that. You can stay with that. So Sean, if you could go to any concert that of your choosing, who would you like to see? And it could be past or present. It doesn't matter.
I mean, probably Travis Scott, but I mean, I've been to Travis Scott because he's my favorite artist, but
Is he
if not
country?
him, no, he's rap.
Oh.
Yeah, he's rap. He's a big rap guy.
I'm right on that one.
Yeah,
It's real close.
he's rap, but I've been to his concert before. If not, like, person who I haven't been to is probably Drake. I'd like to go to one of his.
That's interesting. How about you, Lucas?
Well, Drake's probably my favorite artist right now. I've been to one of his concerts, and it was probably my favorite concert that I've seen. But old music, as far as that goes, I'd like to see the Eagles. I'm a big Eagles fan, yeah.
How good are they, Lucas?
I don't know. I mean, I really like the Eagles. I know Hayden's a really big Eagles guy, but my brother my older brother likes old music. Him and Hayden have a similar taste, so if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't like them. But yeah, I like the Eagles. They're probably my favorite old band.
I've seen them in concert several times. They are so good. So good. So let's just talk about who do you admire the most?
Probably my mom is probably,
Why?
like, she's just the sweetest person on earth. I mean,
So you
she's down
admire
to
her.
earth.
You admire her because of her sweetness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
What a nice thing to say. How about you, Lucas?
I would say my parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think they're great people. That like their influence they've had on me has been. It's obviously changed my life, but I think they've made me the person that I am.
Well, they would love to hear that. I mean, any parent would, really. That's a wonderful thing to say. But who's had the biggest influence on you, Sean?
Influence, definitely my dad, for sure. I mean, I love my dad just as much as my mom. They're the same. I met both parents, love them to death. But definitely my dad for like the sports world and like breaking down business, like what I'm gonna do and in the future with business and all kinds of stuff. I really look up to him. And then also Coach David for teaching all the lessons throughout the past 4 years, the great memories we've had, and then also my teammates, my friends, all of them. I mean, just great influences on my life.
Just talk a little bit about those lessons, though. What do you generally mean by that from Coach David?
He just teaches you, like mentally, like how to be ready and like be present in the game. He called Lucid. Listen to it every day. It's just the mental game, the mental part of life is just important than the actual part of life.
Yeah.
And like how to have a great mental state in sports and in the real world. And like he also gives us like quotes and all kinds of stuff that don't just apply to sports, they apply to real life situations as well. Like every day we have a quote on the board, and it's not just about the game, the basketball part of life, it's life in general. It can apply.
I think you're really fortunate to have that. Most coaches, I don't think a lot of coaches deal with the mental side of sports. I think they deal with the X's and O's and the fundamentals and how we're going to compete. But I think that's not typical. No. And so I feel like that's a great thing to learn, because you're going to need that as you move the rest of your life, really. How about you, Lucas? Who's had the biggest influence on you?
Well, like I said, my parents, definitely. But I'd agree with Sean. I'd say my friends, because, I mean, my friends and I, we're very close. We do a lot of things together. Like, we're always together. So I think just their companionship, it's very important to me. And just being around them, it's great. And then I would also say Coach David, because, like Sean said, he is more oriented towards making you a better person than a better basketball player, because, I mean, he's a great coach, and he says at the beginning of every season, I will try to do my best to make you the best basketball player you can become. But his life lesson, you can tell, like, as you get older, because I played with him for 4 years, it's definitely, his goal is to make you the best person you can be.
What a great testament to what he does. Well, thank you both for coming. I really enjoyed having you. Best wishes to you both going to Ohio and doing your college thing. And I assume you may come back and watch some Mount Lebanon games once in a while.
Sure, of course.
But thank you both for coming, and best wishes.
Thank you.
Also joining us are 2 additional seniors of the Mount Lebanon High School Boys WPL Championship team. We have guard Hayden Mitchell and forward Timmy Walters. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So, going to school, like, you've had a lot of teachers over the years, and Mount Lebanon's known as a pretty good school district. Oh, more than that, actually. So who would be, say, your favorite teacher, Hayden, and why?
If I had to pick a favorite teacher, I'd probably go Mr. Bielek, who teaches physics and astronomy. Mainly because I think he's the smartest teacher in the school, honestly, and I love that kind of science work, and I love astronomy, and he does a really good job of teaching it in general. So.
Yeah, that's not easy stuff.
No, he makes it seem easier than it actually is.
Does he?
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. How about you, Timmy?
I would say Mr. Hathi and Mr. Savarese. They're both really energetic and keep you engaged when teaching. So.
What do they teach?
Savarese teaches, I have him for honors, international relations right now, and he teaches U.S. history. And then Mr. Hathi teaches wildlife bio, which I have right now, and he also teaches biology for sophomores.
What's it like going to school where your mom's a teacher?
I like it because if I ever need anything, a paper signed, or if I need money or something, I can just go to her room.
Gotta like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. My daughter was a really high honor roll student, and she would come back and rate the teachers to me, because teachers were a big deal, because she wanted to do really well in school. And she said so many good things about your mother.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't just throwing that out there. She meant it, Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's good. So it's interesting, Hayden, that you talk about how Mr. Bielek makes it easy, makes something very difficult easy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've said this to you before, you kind of make basketball look a little easy. I mean, you kind of glide. You glide out there, you shoot the shot, you go into the paint, and it doesn't look like you're going real hard, but you're doing all the right things, and you're just getting the job done, and you just make it look easy. But it's not easy, is it?
No, not really.
Why do you think I say that? Has anyone else ever told you that?
Yeah, a couple people
Really?
said.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good. I mean, you just, I don't know. I appreciate it because I know how hard the game is. And if you make it kind of look easy, that's a testament to you.
Thank you.
So Timmy, you came from football.
Mm-hmm.
to hear. How hard was the transition going from football shape to basketball?
It's pretty tough because, like Lucas said, in football it's a lot of like short bursts, and then you get breaks after every play. So to basketball, it's a lot of just running, no breaks. So it's a totally different kind of shape that you have to be in. It definitely takes a couple of weeks to get from football shape to basketball shape.
Hayden, you saw the change in style.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that go over with you?
For me, I think it went perfect because I would always get yelled at before for doing stuff like reaching and trying to overplay and trap. And then he switched the style like that, bang, and I was right into it.
He
It was
gave
like,
you the green light to do that.
yeah, Mr. Paul or Mike's dad always says that style was built for me because that's how I always used to play.
Yeah.
So it just worked out.
So it just was right up your alley.
Yeah.
How did that transition work for you, Timmy?
I don't know. I guess it wasn't that hard of a transition too, because we all kind of liked reaching and trapping and stuff. So it was a nice transition.
Yeah.
Because we were allowed to reach and stuff.
Yeah. So what's your future plans, Hayden?
Right now, I haven't decided yet on college. I'm in between Ohio State and Bucknell for engineering, so I'll be deciding within a couple weeks. So
Two very different schools.
yeah, one's 45,000, one's 3,000. So it's
Yeah. You can't go wrong with either school.
no, I don't think so. They're
And
both
definitely
great
not
schools.
engineering. Engineering's a great thing. How about you, Timmy? What's your future plans?
I'm going to Franklin Marshall, and I'm playing football there.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Nice. What position do you play?
Receiver. Outside receiver.
And you're going to play there?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you have a short list of where you were going?
Yeah. When I went up to Franklin Marshall for my visit, I just kind of knew immediately that that's where I wanted to be. For like Division III school, their facilities are really nice, and they just built like a brand new stadium. So I just kind of knew it was for me. I have family up there too.
So it just hit you. This is it. This
Yeah.
is my place.
Yeah. After my second visit, I decided and I committed.
And you have family there too.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
That's even better. And where's that located?
It's in Lancaster, so it's 4 hours east of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Amish country.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there's memories that you have. I mean, I'm sure the WPL Championship's one of probably the biggest. But other than that, what do you draw on that's something that you look back real fondly with, Hayden?
I agree with Sean about the beating USC away because I loved every second of that game. Even if we would have lost, I probably still would have said I loved it because the reason we play and we love those games because of the atmosphere and kind of throws back to like what we used to watch when Luke Hagee and all those guys were playing those big USC games and the gyms were packed and we finally got to be in it and the whole USC student section sang the national anthem when it didn't play and it was just nuts in there, so I had a blast.
They usually have a beach party. I
Yeah,
think.
they did.
Yeah.
I mean, our student section was good that game too, so we also showed up in
Yeah,
numbers.
that's good. That really makes everything. You go out in warm-ups and you see all these kids going crazy. It just pumps you up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Timmy? Like looking back at your sports career, what stands out to you as a great memory?
Like Lucas said, the Central Catholic game is up there, but also I think our home playoff game this year against Ken and Mac is definitely probably my best football memory, just because that was the first playoff game our class had won in all of high school for football, so that was pretty special.
Yeah.
We got upset my sophomore year at home, and then we also lost my junior year in the playoffs, so it was nice getting a playoff one.
Gotcha. You know, we were talking, I guess Sean was mentioning some of the life lessons and Lucas. And what are some of the life lessons you think you've learned in sports, Hayden?
Yeah, I mean, we learn almost one every day with the quote on the board that we have to remember, but I think just the main idea that you have to play unselfishly and we're a team and it's not an individual sport. Because I think if you ask anybody who writes about us or talks about us, like nobody on here is a Fab Five player, and yet we won the WPL championship, and I think that just kind of shows testament to how well we play as a team, and I think that was a big building block that we got. And that'll work well in life as well, because basically every job you need to be a great team member.
Absolutely, absolutely. How about you, Timmy? I mean, I know you've had a lot of different coaches over the years, and you know, that's one of the best things I love about sports is the life lessons. So what are one or any more of them have you taken with you?
One of the biggest ones for me is definitely just like living in the moment, just enjoying yourself, like in the now and like being present, because it goes by quickly. You know, there aren't that many games in high school, so you have to enjoy them while you have them, and same with practices.
That's great. So I assume you've both dealt with adversity in sports. So what have you learned on how to deal with that?
Yeah, I think you have to embrace it, is what he always tells us. Embrace adversity, embrace any problems that we have, because they're just going to make our circle bigger in the end. And yeah, I just say we have to embrace adversity and know that it's going to make us better in the end.
Yeah. How about you, Timmy?
Yeah, I agree with Hayden. You kind of have to take it head on, and not shy away from it. Just embrace it, and it'll make you a better team.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen to you in life.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Of course.
And you're going to get knocked down. And it's not about what happened to you. It's about how you respond to what happened to you.
Yeah, I think USC is a perfect example
Yeah.
of that. When we lost at home, we kind of got together as a senior group and talking, and we were like, we need to pick this up right now and get back in the gym and work harder.
And that's a great example, really, because they didn't just beat you. They really put it on you guys that night. And I've never seen that happen in a Mount Lebanon gym. It was just so unusual. But it was one of those nights. I mean, they were just hitting everything. You guys weren't. And they just really took it to you. Do you think, Timmy, and Hayden too, but we'll start with Timmy, do you think that game helped you at all in the long run?
Yeah, we say like the reason we won the Whitfield, or one of the biggest reasons, was because of that game. Like it kind of was like a reality check for us. Like we're not as good as we think we are. And it just made us work that much harder.
Yeah. Well, what's your spin, Hayden, on that?
I totally agree. Even after we lost, we said this could be the reason that we could win the Whitfield championship, because, like Tim said, we figured out that if we don't do the little things, if we don't box out and rebound and play defense, we're not going to win a championship.
Yeah. You know, we were talking about shooting, and I mean, this team does a lot of three-point shooting, and probably it's fun for you guys. But there's nights where when you guys shoot the lights out of the place, like you blew Butler right out of the Mount Lebanon High School gym. But there's other nights where you're not really doing that. And so how were you, like, Hayden, when you'd miss your first couple of shots or make your first couple of shots, how did that transcend into the rest of the game for you?
Yeah, I think especially for me, I think it's not even a good habit, but I'm a streaky shooter. So if I miss my first, I lose a little confidence. Even though that's not the attitude, I should have worked on that more, but it definitely makes a huge difference, especially to me. And yeah, I think it really helps that, especially in our starting five, that we have 5 people who can shoot the ball. So the odds that 5 people or 4 people are going to have a really off night shooting are really low, since we have 5 guards that can shoot the ball, which is a big matchup problem in general.
Yeah. Does Coach David talk about that at all, like missing your first couple shots and what to do? What does he say?
Yeah, he always says that you should forget your misses and remember your makes, is his main saying. So,
I mean, I guess it's probably easier said than done, but it's nice to hear a coach say that.
yeah, he definitely preaches that a lot.
Yeah. So, Timmy, try to put into your words the difference between football, basketball, and in terms of yourself. Like, how did you approach both sports?
For me, the two were just really different because, like, football, I was like a captain on the team and started a receiver. And then transitioning into basketball, I was more, like sat on the bench. But, was a good morale guy, I guess. Our bench energy was good, but it was fun. I mean, football, we won 6 games and won a playoff game, but we didn't get a Whitfield championship or anything. I would take sitting on the bench and winning a Whitfield championship over playing and not winning every day of the week.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and everybody on this team has value. I mean, everybody. You're practicing more than you're playing. So, I mean, people that don't get in the game a lot can really add a lot in these practices. I mean, is that how you kind of feel?
Yeah.
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 I think, my role is just getting in there in practice and making sure the starters, getting them better every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting how, I mean, it just, and I think both of those kind of contrasts kind of shows your unselfish side, meaning like you'd rather take the championship regardless of, how much you're playing. And that's a wonderful comment on you, Timmy. So Hayden, what would people be surprised to know about you?
Probably that I love golfing and I love snowboarding as well.
So
I also play golf too for the team.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
It's interesting because Brandon Babe played years ago, one of the Babes, and he golfed and he played basketball. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked him, and I'll never forget his answer. So you're playing golf and you're done at the Peterson Center. Talk about what that's like, as far as pressure that you felt yourself and how you approached it.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of pressure with golf because similar to the Peterson, of the golf world, I played at Oakmont in the Whitfield Championship there for golf.
Oh, they do? Oakmont?
Yeah, that's where I played. So I was really nervous on that first tee, probably equally as nervous on the first tee at Oakmont than I was at the Peterson Event Center because those are two similar places. But I think it's kind of a different kind of pressure because once I love basketball a little bit more even than golf because once I start playing, I lose the pressure more than I do in golf because I think that you kind of get in the flow of things more in basketball and you're kind of just playing. You can just go out and play, but standing over a 4-foot putt to win a tournament or help your team is a little more nerve-wracking to me at that point.
Yeah, I mean, when I asked Brandon Babe, I said, what's more pressure, playing basketball or golf? And he goes, oh, that's easy. It's golf.
Yeah.
Golf is, I have nobody else in golf. It's all me. Mm-hmm. And so did you have to qualify to make that Whitfield Championship?
Yeah, there are 2 different rounds.
Oakmont is phenomenal place.
Yeah.
I mean, world class.
It was awesome.
Were the greens really fast?
Yeah, they had them running super fast.
Did they?
Yeah.
Does that humble you?
Yeah, I three putted a couple times.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen there. It's almost impossible to stop your ball if it's above the hole.
I grew up in a house 5 minutes from there, and I've been to a lot of those opens, and it's a special place.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Timmy, what's it like? You have a big family. What's it like being in a big family like yours?
I love it. There's always something going on. There's never really any downtime.
No?
No, yeah.
And so you have an older sister, and what's she doing now?
She goes to school at Boston College. She's actually in Ecuador right now, studying abroad. And then I have JP, who's in 8th grade. He plays basketball and football. And then Kat, who's in 5th grade. She plays lacrosse and basketball.
Yeah. Have you visited your sister?
Yeah, I visited her at Boston College twice, and then we were just in Ecuador a couple weeks ago.
What's Boston College like?
It is a really awesome school. If I wasn't playing football in college, that'd be my dream school, definitely.
Would it?
Yeah, both my parents went there. Yeah, it was a good time. Great school too.
And how about Ecuador? What's going on down there?
It was a different experience, but I liked it a lot. She loves it down there. She's fluent in Spanish.
Is she?
Yeah. So.
Was she fluent before she got there, or did the full immersion kind of bring her to that point?
Yeah, she wasn't quite fluent before she got there, but once she immersed herself in the culture, and she lives with a host family who only speaks Spanish to her.
Interesting.
It didn't take long for her.
Music. So Hayden, what's your music tastes?
My favorite music is 70s soft rock, basically. Eagles, Pink Floyd.
So good, Hayden.
Yeah.
Such good taste. Where did you get? Who introduced you to this stuff?
I don't know. My dad loves all that stuff, and it's just always on, and it's just what I like.
Yeah, your dad. I did the same thing to my kids. They had to listen to my music, and they like that music.
Yeah,
So that's some good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How about you, Timmy? I don't think that's you though, huh?
No, I don't really listen to like old school music. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess 80s, but I don't know. I don't really listen.
So your
to
dad and your mom didn't play that stuff, like
No, they play it. I just don't.
it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't,
It doesn't
I don't really
work
listen
for
to
you.
it on my end. Yeah.
So what works for you?
Like I guess more modern stuff like Drake and like Lil Baby, Travis Scott, like Sean said.
So rappers.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So what would there be a song that would like pump you up before a basketball game? Like what would you choose?
I don't know necessarily. I knew I always used to get pumped up before the USC games because they used to always play like these old songs on beach night, or whoever was on the aux. They would play a bunch of 70s music that would get me pumped up. I don't know. I don't really listen to soft rock to get pumped up.
No.
But
No.
like I guess you could go into like AC/DC or stuff like that I also like.
Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll get you.
That'll do it. How about you, Timmy?
I didn't really listen to music before basketball games. I would listen to it more before football games.
Well, what I mean is when you're coming out for layups
Yeah,
before the game.
we make our
we made our
own playlist. I still like rap, especially for like before basketball games and stuff. So we get together before every game and just get our playlist going and set it up, and then they would play it for us.
Did you hear that guy before your home games, before he had your music with him or whatever, he was playing that soundtrack of Pulp Fiction? Did you hear that?
I wasn't paying attention.
I was like, where's it? I walked over, where's that coming from? He goes, oh, I just have it, until I get their disc or whatever. I'm like, I never heard this before a high school basketball game. So anyway, you guys have had great careers at Mount Lebanon. I mean, just to go to school there and do well and move on, that's a big accomplishment in itself. Thanks. But Timmy, you going to play football in college, and Hayden, the high school basketball career you had was just terrific. So I just want to congratulate you both and wish you best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Also joining us is a guard for the Mount Lebanon High School boys basketball team, Michael Palmer. Michael, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Michael, there's many things I remember. I followed you guys for, it seems like a long time, but especially the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. And you played my alma mater, Penn Hills, last year at Baldwin in the WPL semifinals. Mm-hmm. And talk about that athleticism that you had to deal with that night.
Yeah, it was definitely different from anything that we played in like our section or prior to that. Obviously it showed because we had some struggles with it, but I guess it kind of was like a reality check too, and it was like what we need to work on type of thing. But obviously it sucked just because we made it that far, but then we didn't get there.
Yeah, I know it was disappointing, but the only reason I bring that up is exactly what you said. You cannot simulate that size and jumping ability and athleticism. You just can't get that in practice or even in the South Hills.
Right.
It's just not here.
Yeah.
And then you go down there and they're playing above the glass. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I've seen that contrast many times. And actually, you guys went up and played Kennedy Catholic this year, and there was some similarities to that. But when you see that in front of you, like, everybody reacts to that different. Mm-hmm. And so I remember how you reacted to it, but how do you think you reacted to it?
Me personally, I thought I reacted to it pretty well, just because like AAU and stuff, I've been playing it for a while, so like obviously you see those types of kids. So I mean, I've seen it before, but like at that scale it was a little different obviously, so at first maybe it was like a little nerve-wracking, but I feel like me personally at least, I just kind of settled in a little better.
Well, you really stood out to me because you attacked that team, and not everybody's thinking like that because they're just so athletic and they can cause so many problems. Right. But it just didn't, it seemed like it didn't faze you, and I really always wanted to ask you why, and you're saying because you were used to it with AAU.
Right, yeah.
But even though you guys came up a little bit short, I walked away with big respect for you that night because I feel like that didn't faze you. You just went on the attack. And yeah, okay, we fell a little short, but I mean, athletically, it was in some ways a little bit of a mismatch, but that's not the way it ended up. You guys took them right to the wire.
Right.
You know, so you were right in the game. So I think that might be the one game I remember most about you, because I felt like you really attacked some real quality, and not everybody responds that way. So I got respect for you.
Thank you.
I do. And now, when you play, Michael, you know, you're playing against a lot of times bigger kids than you.
Right.
So does that even come to your mind, or how do you deal with that?
I mean, I don't really think of it too much, and I try to stay within myself as much as I can. Try not to do anything that I'm not really capable of. But no, I don't really like think of it. I just try to like say like everyone's here to try to do one thing, and that's basically to win. So.
Yeah, you know, your dad has been your coach for a long time before you got to high school.
Yeah.
So what have you taken from him?
A lot.
And what kind of things?
Probably just like how to play game situations, like when like a certain ref's calling it a certain way, or just kind of like the little things, I guess. So like a lot of times if I'm struggling in a game, I might sit back and like kind of look at it, and then I kind of remember things he might have said like before, and just try to adjust depending on that.
Yeah. No, I mean, he was a really good player back when he was your age. And, you know, he coached travel basketball for a lot of years.
Right.
And I just have a lot of respect for him because he just really knows the game. And, you know, was it different playing for your dad, or what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of tough at times, obviously, because it's your dad. But, yeah, I mean, it was definitely different. And it was different coming into high school, too, because he would coach me for basically everything through travel all the way up. So it was a lot different not having him, like, right there, and, like, my dad not being, like, the coach. So
what was the transition between your dad then to Coach David? Well, what was that like for you?
I mean, obviously, you're, like, closer with your dad. So, like, I guess not, like, necessarily, like, say certain things, but, like, you, like, just, like, are able to speak your mind, like, totally easy. I mean, then like at first, like obviously didn't know Coach David at first, so like that was probably like a little tough for a little bit. But then once like I got to know him, it was kind of the same in terms of like just adjusting to that.
Yeah. And so, you know, I've done this show for a lot of years, and Darnell Dinkins came in one day, and he said something that I'll never forget. He goes, life is a series of transitions, and the people that handle those transitions better, you know, have a better time in life. So that was a transition for you, from your dad to Coach David. But it's not like Coach David doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
He certainly does.
Yeah.
But he's different. He brings a different feel for you. So it took you a little while to get used to him.
Right.
But it seemed like let's talk about the change in style. So you guys had a certain style, and then all of a sudden everything changed, and now it's like full court pressure, going for steals, turning people over, and shooting threes. So what was that transition like for you?
For me, I mean, I thought it worked pretty well. Obviously, it took some time to adjust, but for me, playing football, I didn't really get to like practice it until the actual season came, because I know like I was there for some open gyms throughout like the spring, but like when the summer came and like the fall, I was pretty much solely with football, so I was never really around enough to like totally get it. So when I came in, it would have been junior year, came in, and like the kids that were practicing in the open gyms and stuff, they were already like pretty far into it, and then I was just kind of getting it as the season was going. So, but eventually, I mean, it obviously worked out. So
Yeah. You know, I think every kid in your rotation brought something to the team. Everybody. But you brought what I felt like. I think you brought toughness. I think you brought heart, and plus you know how to play the game. And I mean, how did you feel? What did you think your role was on this team?
Well, obviously I wasn't like a big time scorer or anything like that, but I thought I was more of like a grit, glue guy kind of thing. And then I guess just pick people up when they're down, try to stay positive no matter what's going on. Because I know like everyone else is capable of doing different things, and I just try to like put them in the best spot.
Yeah.
They succeed.
Yeah. So you're also a football player and a basketball player. So what are your future plans?
I'm playing football at John Carroll next year. Yeah.
What position?
Either like a safety or outside linebacker.
Okay.
So defense, yeah.
Talk about the difference between playing high school football and playing high school basketball. What's it like from Michael Palmer's standpoint?
I mean, it's a lot different, but both of them are kind of like surreal feelings, I would say. Looking back on it, like football is obviously it's like bigger, and then what Lucas said earlier, where you're kind of like more exposed in basketball, but they're two different experiences, I'd say, but both of them I thought were something like I'll probably never forget.
Yeah, yeah. But football is going to be your future. And so what did this year mean to you, like basketball-wise?
Pretty much everything. I guess it was kind of like just to wrap up like my basketball like career, because obviously with my dad being like super into basketball, my house and everything was always about basketball. So I guess it was kind of weird thinking, because at first I wouldn't have thought I would be playing football in college. But now that it's like that, and the way that it finished this year is, I guess, perfect way to kind of end it.
Well, he was real happy when you
Yeah.
whipped the championship. I mean, I saw him and your mother, and
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, you see your boy out and playing on the Peterson Event Center and winning the WPL championship and putting a banner up. I mean, that's special. That's history.
Right.
You know, has it sunk into you yet what you guys did?
Yeah, I mean, not at first. I remember that night I was just kind of like, didn't really hit me yet, but after like walking around and like being able to like talk to people about it and getting the congratulations, you kind of realize how big of a deal it actually was.
Such a big deal. It's history. It's a banner that'll never go away. Does Coach David talk about that?
Yeah, all the time. He would say the biggest thing with us is when we can come back with our family, or like anytime we want to, that's always going to be there, and no one can ever take that away from you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what did you get from Coach David? Like, you know, you played for him for all those years, and what's your takeaway from playing for him?
I mean, I obviously got a lot out of it, but the biggest thing is he would use the same quote all 4 years, at least that I was there. It was, "You're entitled to nothing, you earn everything." So he always says that we're the entitlement era, which I guess can be true, but I kind of took that as like, you have to work hard for no matter what you do, because nothing's really going to be given to you.
And you know, this is why I love sports, because the life lessons, that you will take that the rest of your life, the rest of your life. And I told my kids, I don't care what sport you're playing, but you're going to play sports. And I already see now that they're past college and into their professional careers, I see those life lessons playing out. And I think it's an edge that you have to learn those kind of things versus not doing those kind of things. It's not easy to make the high school basketball team, but if you get there, these are the kind of things that you can draw on. I think in some ways, yes, it's great to have that banner, and it's the best memory you may have. But those life lessons are going to follow you in life.
Right.
And it still follows me, as old as I am. And I mean, it's great stuff. So music, like, what do you like music?
I'm not a huge music guy. My dad and like my family was really big into like the old music, but I never really got into it myself. I'm into like pop and rap and all that now.
So who do you admire when you look back at your life? Who do you really admire that's crossed your path?
I'd honestly say like my parents, and then like the coaches that I've had, definitely.
Do you think they've had the biggest influence on you?
Yeah, just from looking at myself as a freshman to now, obviously, I've just grown, and I feel like they were a huge part of it.
What, you know, so now that you're wrapping up your senior year and you're going on to college, there's a new crop of kids coming up in the 9th grade. And so if we put you in front of those kids, what would you tell them?
Definitely just that it goes by quick, but you hear that from everyone. So I'd say while you're in the moment, you have to be able to enjoy it. and you don't want to, where I am now, you don't want to be here and regret anything. And I remember what I heard about, if you go to bed at night and you put your head on the pillow, you don't want to regret anything you did the day before. So I guess just if you live that way, you're going to be fine no matter what the outcome is.
Yeah, and I mean, with you guys winning the WPL championship, that wasn't easy to do.
Right.
You weren't entitled to that.
Mm-hmm.
You had to earn that.
Right.
And you put in a lot of time to do that. So really, it's right about what Coach David said.
Yeah.
You had to earn it.
Right.
And the rest of your life is not going to be any different.
Mm-hmm.
So how about adversity, Michael? Like, how have you, I mean, I know you had adversity at the Penn Hills game last year,
Mm-hmm.
you know. What have you learned in how to deal with adversity?
I feel like the Lucid really helps with that. I know I try to live my life just like try to stay positive and move like next play. So the Lucid kind of was able to help me with that. And then whenever times are tough, you just kind of have to calm down and be where your feet are and just breathe, basically. That's what Lucid pretty much taught me.
Yeah, so that's going to be valuable moving forward, don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed watching you and your teammates play high school basketball. I've seen you guys since 4th grade. And, you know, you've really grown a lot, and now you're putting a banner up into the high school, and not too many classes can say that. And especially you didn't have some big 6'8" center down there dominating in the paint. You guys are playing against some bigger teams,
Right.
and you still beat them. Why do you think you did with them being bigger and sometimes more athletic?
I think it was just a lot of our team chemistry. Obviously, we're super close, so we kind of understood what each person's good at and what we just kind of need to do to win, I guess.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, Michael, I've enjoyed watching you and your teammates play. My best wishes are with you in the
Thank
future.
you.
And I want to thank you for watching. Currently, there's over 113,000 people on the organ transplant waiting list. Now, if you would accept an organ to save your life, or your mother, or your father, or your brother, or your sister, I think we should seriously think about being an organ donor. In addition, there's people that are live, living kidney and liver donors that are saving thousands of lives. That's something to consider also. I hope you enjoy our show. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself.